It's a hard life out there on the ladders, you know. If you go down an MMR, you just don't even know what to do. Ugh. Anything but ZVP, honestly. I'll be happy with anything but ZVP. Hey guys, what's up? Livibee here. Welcome to my game vs Byrd. I get asked frequently for the build order of Erickson the Elevator DropperLord, a specialized Livibee build that has gotten me a lot of victories on the ladder, even though it really shouldn't. Personally, I feel like this build, after they nerfed the DropperLord, where you have to actually get Lair before being able to morph a DropperLord. After that patch, DropperLords ceased to exist. So people on the ladder, especially protosses, don't seem to anticipate the Erickson, the Elevator Lord, dropping in their main base. And I feel like that is why this build works so well. So I'm using this game that I had against Byrd as an example game as how to execute this build that I have tried to keep alive. So you start off the game with throwing down a spawning pool at 12 supply, and you proceed to drone to 14. Take a gas, drone back to 14, make an overlord. You send one drone down to your natural to kind of bamboozle your opponent into thinking that you are going to expand. Hopefully his drone will try and prevent you from taking that natural expansion, therefore delaying his scout into your main base, which actually delays his preparation in dealing with this aggressive play. In this specific game against Byrd, I sent my initial drone to my third and an additional drone to my natural, just to give it that believability that I was macroing. But Byrd, he didn't buy it. I always figure it out, Weird Gus. Feels bad, man. Can't they just not figure it out one time? So uncool. He saw the drone go to the third base, and he went straight to the main. Sometimes your protoss opponent will also follow that drone to the third and try and block that third base from going down and build a pylon in the natural. If you can force that additional pylon out of your protoss opponent, then you're pretty far ahead, and it becomes way more effective in the initial stages of this aggression. You saturate gas as soon as the extractor's done, and as soon as you have 100 gas, you dedicate it firstly to Zergling speed. But you don't take any drones off of gas. No. We need another 100 gas to go Lair straight after this. In this specific game, I scouted the natural of Byrd and I saw a forge. Now this is a very rare instance where I will actually cancel the initial Zergling speed and prioritize that first 100 gas towards Lair, and then getting Zergling speed will be a secondary. The reason for this is because I feel like Byrd is already in a really good defensive position protecting his natural, but his main is still left vulnerable. And if I can DropperLord with my trusty Erickson the Elevator DropperLord into that main base as quick as possible, then I can get as much damage done as I need to win the game. So Lair gets finished a lot quicker because of the Lair first opening. And then behind this, I do like to take a natural after I get the Zergling speed and the Lair and take all my drones off of gas. The natural hatchery, it just provides additional lava for production, so you can really pump out those extra Zerglings that you need. The good old cannon. Wonder why he was going to open with a cannon rush or what? To really finish off your protoss opponent, pick off their units and all their probes. And here I go, morphing the Overlord. Erickson goes to the edge of the main base in a very specific key location that allows you to hold position on that Overlord and then do the nifty little trick onto the high ground. If your Overlord's on hold position and you load up the Zerglings into the Overlord and you constantly keep unloading the Overlord, then it makes for a really nice swift movement that's very efficient to getting Lings into their main base as quick as possible. To defend against this, Byrd actually, I don't think engaging me was the correct idea, but I liked it. Pulls his 2 adepts and all of the probes off his mineral line. He tries to use the probes as a tank in this engagement to really try and clean up the Zerglings and keep the adepts alive in order to maintain with the army lead. In all fairness, Byrd actually can afford to lose a lot of probes in this engagement. I am 1 base saturated at this point. This is as all in as a build gets in ZVP. So pulling the probes isn't too bad of a reaction for Byrd, but he has to be careful not to lose too many. It's worth it to lose the probes if you can maintain the army supply, and eventually outnumber my Zerglings and stabilize. In this case, I was able to pick off all the Adepts and the entire mineral line of probes, which was absolutely amazing for me. Now, instead of going into the natural, which he already has a lot of units defensive there, he's got the shield battery and the photon cannon, and he's waiting defensively at the choke points and on the low ground, and he's got the ramp. Byrd, he finally gets a Phoenix out, and he denies any further DropperLord expectations from Erickson, the Elevator Lord. So behind this, I am forced to macro. I start saturating my natural, making sure I keep up with my injects, making overlords, and using whatever Zerglings I've got left over for map control. Once I get my 3 base economy established, I have sent an additional overlord across the map, Sir Erickson, the Elevator Lord II, to do another follow-up additional sneaky Zergling drop at the very side of the main base. This map has actually got a very large main base, so Byrd doesn't scout this, and I'm able to do a follow-up harassment on Byrd's mineral line, picking off so many additional probes, hindering his economy even further to secure my lead in this game. I'm up to 3 hatcheries. I'm going macro behind this. Any additional probe kills I can get at this point is just a bonus. And now at this stage of the game, you're probably thinking, Livy, isn't this supposed to be like an all-in? Aren't you supposed to win the game with that? A lot of the time, you do. But on the odd occasion that you don't, and you have killed enough of your opponent's economy, you can transition. That is the general nature of an all-in. As long as you've done enough damage to your opponent, and he does manage to stabilize, you can transition to a macro game. And that's what we've done here. With Byrd managing to get a Phoenix and those Stalkers out in time and actually managing to stabilize that aggression, we have transitioned to that macro game. And that building that natural hatchery, it does work in my favor now. I do make sure I make a safety Roach Warren behind this, just in case he tries to do some crazy follow-up mass adept all-in. But also I add a Hydralisk Den behind this as well, to make sure I have a well-rounded unit composition. Roach Hydra is a great unit composition against Protoss, especially a Protoss player that is going for the Stargate opening, and then they do transition to gateway units. Making rounded roaches. Knowing that Byrd does have that Stargate on the map, and that tech available to him, I do make sure I get some Spore Crawlers in my mineral lines, just in case. It also is a nice precaution against any pesky Dark Templar play that Byrd might have the option to follow up with. So I make the additional queens and I focus on my creep spread. I scout to make sure to see when Byrd takes his 3rd base. And I'm like, I think Byrd's gonna be macroing pretty hard from here. He's trying to resaturate his mineral lines. At this stage of the game, he's probably resaturated his 2 bases, and he's opting to take a 3rd base. Now, if Byrd's opting to take a 3rd base, then I've got a little bit of time. If I've got the time on my hands, and if I got any tech path to choose, any tech path under the sun, you bet your bottom dollar, I'm gonna choose those bee mutas. Buzzing through the sky, ruling the world. I throw down my Spire, saturate my 3rd. I'm looking to take an additional hatchery, and I'm going to take all my gases. I want 6 gas income for the muta transition.
Surprised you could take such an early 3rd.
And I am going to look to take a 4th base as well. But before I do need to make sure 100% guaranteed he's going to be taking that 3rd base. I send a changeling across the map. Once it scouts that the 3rd base is in fact going to be taken, 4th base on my side of the map gets taken. That extra additional gas income will definitely help us out, just to be able to have a very nice, healthy muta production. Byrd's doing a really good job at sending hallucinated phoenixes across the map, just to scout the unit composition I'm going, and how many bases I'm taking, and what it's looking like on my side of the map. Spreading my creep out. I get a really good look off on Byrd's unit composition with my changeling, giving me a free look-see-do.
He's just letting me have a free look-see-do at his units. Which is great.
And it's not looking too shabby, I have to be honest. His unit composition is not looking too shabby. At this stage of the game, I actually feel like it could be anyone's game. But our mutas hit the mineral line once again. Those probes are in absolute duress. The funniest part about arriving to the main base with my mutas is that Byrd walked in Zealots thinking that I'm
Like how he walked in Zealots because he thought it was another Ling
doing
run
some
by.
more Erickson shenanigans. He's been under so much Zergling stress in the mineral line. He was just thinking, you know what? Oh, I hope that's not more Zerglings in my main base again. Just a bit of reactionary play from Byrd.
Just one
But now I have so many mutas in the mineral line. Byrd's like, you know what? I don't want to deal with this many mutas. I'm actually just going to push out and attack. And he's opted to go for that base trade scenario. He's pushed across the map with all his units. He's got a bunch of Templars, a lot of gateway units. And behind this, he's trying to warp in Stalkers and throw down additional defensive structures like cannons and shield batteries. But I do get my mutas there in time, making sure that he's not able to get any of those defensive structures up and not able to accumulate too many Stalkers defensively to really trade well with my mutas. I go across the map with all my ground units as well, my Lings and my Hydras, just to really speed up that base trade scenario. I'm going to be aiming down all the probes in the mineral lines till he has no probes left. Then I'm going to start targeting down those nexuses, because as soon as all the nexuses are off the map, your opponent does get revealed. And as soon as Byrd gets revealed, I'll know how many structures on the map I have to deal with to win the game. Because the objective of StarCraft 2 in the 1v1 competitive ladder game is to kill all your opponent's structures. If you can kill all your opponent's structures, you win the game. Now, I don't really want to engage Byrd's army one-on-one. He's got a lot of Archons and a lot of Templars that I'm assuming has Storm. Byrd does try and opt to go for that Desperation Dark Shrine without any Overseers on the map and without a lair left to make Overseers. It's not a bad play. There has been protosses that can win a base raid scenario with that Dark Shrine technology that wins them the game. So as soon as I see that Dark Shrine, I'm like, oh, gotta kill that immediately, clean it up, and continue working on finishing the rest of the structures. Now, I feel like base trade scenarios do favor the Zerg player. Zerg units are just a lot more mobile. Mutas especially can get from place to place quite quickly. But Byrd, he knows he's in a real dicey situation. He won't be able to get back to his base in time to protect his final structures and taps out. I hope you guys enjoyed the video and learned how to do that sneaky elevator, the elevator DropperLord. Make sure if it works for you on the ladder, let me know. Come into my stream and say, hey Livy, it worked. And I'll know what you mean. Because a lot of Protoss players, they just don't really expect it. And that is the power of the build. I'll see you guys for the next video.